Welcome to Quarrelsome Rhinoceros Stitches, episode number 34. My name is Monica, I'm the host. You can find me on the internet as Quarrelsome Rhino almost everywhere, and on Ravelry as morux, M-O-R-U-X. This is a knitting podcast that you may not have seen in a while. I believe it has been about 10 months since my last episode, and I have quite a lot to share with you. So I haven't really been podcasting lately, but I have still been knitting, so I will jump right into it and give you kind of a rundown of what I've been up to. I'll show you a couple of finished objects. Some of them, things that I've finished in the last few months, have been gifts. So I've already gifted those, and they're already out of my house, so I won't be able to share them on the podcast, obviously. So, I will share with you the 2 knits that I have done for myself in the last few months. I will show you all of my works in progress, and a couple of them you have seen before, and I haven't made very much progress on them. So, but there will be some new ones, I promise. Then after that, I will show you my wonderful stash enhancements that you can see kind of creeping onto the screen over here. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to the channel, this is probably a good place to get started watching my episodes, since I haven't uploaded in quite a while. Today is August the 27th. I go back to school on September 3rd, so I will be knitting as much as I can during the school year. I do have a couple of projects that I need to get finished by December, so I will be working on those quite regularly, but more about that as they come. So I'm going to jump right into sharing my finished objects with you. So let me get these out from under here. So my first finished object is the Ripple crop top. I don't know what I did with the paper that shows the finished object, but or the pattern, but the Ripple crop top is a pattern by Jessie May Designs, and it is the fingering weight version. I know she is just coming out with a worsted weight version, and I'm not sure if it's out already or if it's being tested, but this is the fingering weight version. I started this back in March. I think it was like the 18th or 19th of March or something like that. And I just finished it a few weeks ago. So here is my Ripple crop top. I am not going to put it on today because it is fairly warm, and I've just turned my air conditioner off so that you would be able to hear me talk, because my air conditioner is right off screen right behind you. So anyway, so here is the Ripple crop top. This is Manos del Uruguay Alegria in the color Leo. And it's this nice like coppery red. It basically matches my hair. I don't know if you can see that. The color may not be quite right because I am filming this in the evening, or the late afternoon. So it might have a hard time picking up the right colors, but I'll try and mention it when I notice it on the viewer. Anyway, so yeah, I love the finished object of this pattern. I will say that it was quite a slog to get through, just because it was, it's 3x3 rib all the way up and down the entire garment, so it is very difficult for me to enjoy doing the same thing over and over again. So I am very, very happy with the finished object. This is going to be part of my back to school outfit, so I'm gonna wear this. I'm gonna try and find either I'm gonna find a brown skirt, or I'm gonna wear a green skirt that I have, and then I'm going to wear some green booties with it. I am really, really excited to wear this, and I think it's gonna be a really great fall item, and also I just love petting it. So here is the tag for the yarn. It's the Alegria, Manos del Uruguay, and then you can see it is Leo there. So there is that one. So this one, I'm so happy that I'm finished with it. It took me about 2.1 skeins basically of this yarn to make the finished object. So it really didn't use that much yarn. It's the same amount I would use on a shawl, which is why I really love crop tops. Also, short sleeves are perfect. So I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. It's probably one of my favorite garments that I've ever knit for myself, to be honest. Most of the other garments I have my gripes about, but this, I don't think I made too many errors in the pattern, and I think it turned out really, really well. And this is the first garment that I've been able to like block and leave it to dry, and it looks perfect. Yeah, so I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. I do know, so Jessie May definitely does a lot of patterns that are size inclusive, which is really important to me, and I'll get to that in my works in progress a little bit more in depth. But I really love that she's super size inclusive. She has, her patterns have many, many sizes, and she grades for larger sizes, which I'm very happy about. That has been a conversation lately in the knitting world, and I'm really happy that it has come up and that we are talking about it more, because there really are just a lot of patterns that are just not written for bigger girls, and I am one, so I've got quite a large bust measurement, and I always have to sort of edit the patterns that I make if they're garments, because I end up having to need a bigger size around the bust, and I'll need shorter arms and things like that, because my arms aren't very long, but I do have quite a large bust size. So it's just nice not to have to edit a pattern for once. So yeah, I really, really enjoy it. The pattern was really well written and really easy to follow. I would even say that a beginner knitter could do it. It was very, very simple to follow. I think the next one that I'll knit from her is probably the Ripple Bralette, although I'm not sure I would wear it by itself, so we'll see. I'm not quite that confident in myself yet in order to wear something like that by itself. So, and that's just me on my personal journey. Obviously, I want you to feel comfortable and wear exactly what you want to wear. Anyway, enough of that. So that crop top is my first journey into sort of loving the shape that I already have. And I'm really excited about it. So, sorry if I went off on a rant. Anyway, I will move on now. And the next finished object that I have to share, I finished back in May. It was sort of I'm done with school for the semester. I need to knit something. So I had 3 skeins of DK weight yarn in my stash, and I'll show you the tags first before I hold up the actual thing here. So I had 1 skein of Woolen Vine yarns in the Smitten DK base in the colorway I Am No Bird. So this one is 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon, and it is very soft. And I did mix bases in here, and I don't even care. So I also have a skein of Potion yarns in the color Granny Chic. It is a superwash Pullworth wool, and it is also DK. And then I had 2 skeins, 2 50-gram balls of Swan's Island, which is a local yarn to me. This one is, the colorway is called Graphite, and it is a merino wool superwash DK weight. And I decided that I wanted to knit a 3-color shawl that was sort of mindless. I wanted mostly like eyelets and garter stitch, so I found Andrea Mowry's Goldfinch pattern. Hers is in like a light blue, a dark blue, and a yellow, and my colors are really similar, so or not to hers, but like similar to each other. So I really wanted to know how the yarn was going to play together, and I really love how it turned out. So here is the shawl. So you can see, so there's some garter, and then this first yarn here is the I Am No Bird. That's the Woolen Vine. And then this second color here, This darker purple, sort of mauvey, is the Potion Yarns Granny Chic, and then this gray graphite is the Swan's Island. And it just sort of alternates between a straight garter stitch, a sort of short row section, and an eyelet section, and it just grows and grows. And then there's also like some striped sections, and I absolutely love this shawl. This one I will put on. So I've already worn this once because it was a little chilly at the waterfront the other day when I went to the folk festival, and so I put this on and I absolutely love it. I am in love with this shawl. It makes me so happy, and I finished it really quickly. I think I finished it in, oh, excuse me, I want to say like 2 weeks it took me to knit the shawl, and then it took me forever to wash and block it. But I finally washed and blocked it like last week. So there is that. Yeah, like I said, the pattern is by Andrea Mowry. You can find it on Ravelry. I might be able to pop a picture in here if I remember. But yeah, so those are the two finished objects that I have for myself for the last 10 months. I've been mostly focused on school, I will be quite honest. I went back to school in January this year, and I will be studying full-time until probably 2 years from now, maybe 3. And then we'll talk about grad school after that, I guess. So that is the goldfinch. I am thinking about starting a tradition where when I'm finished with a semester, I knit myself something, whether it is a shawl or a garment or whatever. I want to cast on something and finish something right after school is finished every May. So this is the first one in that first installment of that. And hopefully I'll be able to continue the tradition next year. So there's that. And then set these guys over there. All right. So on to my long list of works in progress. I don't know how I'm ever going to get through this section because I have so many. I am a work in progress aholic. I can't even, these are my show notes. So sorry if I keep looking down here. That's where I have my show notes written down. So I have so many works in progress to share with you. I will start over here. Where'd they go? There they are. All right, so this is a Hanna Lisa Heifer Camp bag. I don't know if she is actually producing bags right now. I know she was pregnant the last time I knew, so I think she may be taking a break from, she's on her maternity leave, so I don't know if she's making bags right now. But I really like this project bag. It's really good for just one pair of socks to have on the go. All right, so like I just gave away, this is a pair of socks. So this is, again, it's Swan's Island yarn. It is in their dip dyed yarns collection. It is a local yarn to me. I don't know if you can get it in your local yarn store, but I know they have a website, and I'm sure that you can find them there. But yeah, so I really love this yarn. So my grandmother picked it out many moons ago and asked me to knit her a pair of socks. And so I knit the toe and foot of one sock, and then I let it sit for 10 months because I swear I cast these on forever ago. Anyway, so I finally have one finished sock heel. This is an afterthought heel. Actually, everything on these socks was afterthought. So I knit one toe, and then I knit a very long tube, right? All the way to the other end of the toe. And then I inserted 2 heels on it, cut and insert 2 heels, and then I cut them apart, and now I have 2 socks. So now I just need to do the ribbing on the top of this sock. It is 10 rows. I only did 10 rows of ribbing on this, and I'm still, and it's 1 by 1 twisted rib for the ribbing, and I am dragging my feet. Why? I don't know. Anyway, the reason I did them this way is because I really didn't want to interrupt this really cool sort of pooling, spiraling pattern that was happening. I didn't want the socks to look different. So I just continued because I didn't know if it was gonna work the same way if I had cast off and recast on. I didn't know that it was gonna end up like this, so I really wanted them to be the same. Because when my grandmother saw them the first time, she loved that spiraling like pattern on them. And she really likes this color. It's not really showing up as light, I guess, as, oh, there we go. That's a much truer color right there. Cool. I really like this yarn. This is I believe it is a decay weight yarn. To begin with, I used a pattern that is by, oh, I cannot remember her name. Oh, I am so terrible. Why do I do this to myself? This is, and I can't even tell you the name of the sock because I lost the first page of the pattern. So it is by Very Pink Knits, and I believe her name is Stacy. I don't remember her last name, but it is a YouTube, she has a YouTube channel, and she has a method for German short row heels that she has in a pattern that is really, really helpful for if you want to learn that method of doing heels. She has all kinds of like really basic sort of sock patterns, or like just basic patterns if you want to learn techniques. She's really, really good at doing that. And I definitely recommend checking out her YouTube channel. I'm sure everybody who's watching this already watches her YouTube channel, but just in case you haven't heard of her yet. So yeah, so those are socks for my grandmother. Those 10 rows should be done today. Maybe I will make that my goal for today, is to get these 10 rows done, cast them off, and just sew in the ends and give them to her so that I don't have them anymore. So hopefully I can get that done. That'll be my goal, I guess. Let's see where we are. Let's see. So next I will talk about my random shawl. So I started a shawl back probably in March with some yarn that I bought at a local yarn store to my friend Carrie, who lives in the Tampa area in Florida. And I decided to buy a skein of yarn while I was there, and I don't have the tag for it anymore. I think that my dog may have eaten it, which is not me making an excuse. My dog actually really liked to eat paper. So and you'll actually be able to see, I can't remember where, I've got one that's like a half-eaten tag. I'll show you in a minute. Anyway, so I've knit about half of a shawl with it. And so it was we called it the friendship yarn because I bought it about a year ago when I visited in July. And yeah, so I just sort of started making a shawl. This is as deep as it goes. And then I'm hopefully going to be able to add a different color of yarn for the other half of the shawl because I ran out of this yarn. But yeah, this is my random shawl. I did a bunch of garter stitch. I think it may have been plain knitting, or it was something that I just needed to knit on when I was feeling anxious and didn't really want to concentrate on anything. And then I just did a couple of rows of like drop stitches, and that's it really. Yep, and then at the beginning I did a couple in a row of drop stitches, and then I spread them out for the rest of the shawl. I didn't even take notes on this, so I don't even know if I can reproduce it, but it is a fairly basic shawl, so I may not actually write up the pattern for it. But we'll see. So I'm knitting these. What is that? That is a US 6, which is a 4mm needle. I'm using my Chowgoos because I really love Chowgoos. These ones are my fixed circulars. I bought a 4mm because I really like how 4mm needles look with the fingering weight yarn. And I really wanted a super long cable. So there's that. That is the random shawl. Maybe I'll name it something else other than random shawl, but I'm not really sure if that will happen. All right, next I will share with you the reason why I don't like modifying patterns. So this is something that I have definitely shared before. I don't know if I had shared that last one before or not, but I've definitely shared this one before. So this is Cascade Yarns. This is the colorway Christmas Green. It is a lot more vibrant than it ever shows up on camera. I cannot get this color to show up right. So it is a very vibrant sort of Kelly green, like really, really bright green. It is very, very pretty. I love it. I am knitting the Heart Cardigans by Tanis Lavely. Now the biggest size, I will mention that the biggest size in that pattern is a 48-inch bust, which is not very size inclusive. And I needed to modify it to be at least, I think I modified it to be a 52-inch bust. And I took all kinds of notes on it to make sure that I was doing the math right and all of that. Before I started, and then I've sort of let it sit, so I'm a little bit nervous. My tension and gauge will be different when I'm back at it. But anyway, so here is the cardigan. You can see, so it's a bottom-up cardigan, which I'm not really loving. I don't know if I will ever do a bottom-up cardigan again, because I feel like I haven't made any progress, and I really would like to be done with the body of this sweater now. So this is, I think I have about 30 rows left too of the body before I split for the sleeves. So there is the left front side. It's nicely cabled. The reason I use this pattern is because I loved the cables. And there's the back. And then there is the right side that sort of mirrors the left side there. So like I said, I'm not really pleased that I had to modify it. I'm not pleased that I had to add stitches to it. I'm hoping that it will still turn out right because I've taken so many notes on it just to make sure that I'm in the right place, because I knew I would be setting this down when I went back to school. So I am very looking forward to having this finished. I hopefully will have it finished by Christmas time so that I can wear it on Christmas, because that's what I made it for anyway. Also, it's a worsted weight yarn, so it's going to be a very warm sweater in the winter when it's really cold in Maine. So that is that one. We are plowing through these. All right, so next on the list is my Nakara Wrap. So Nakara Wrap is a pattern by Amba O'Brien. Let's see if I can find the right page of the pattern. There we go. To show you without giving away any of the info. So that is what it looks like. Let's get that a little closer. So it's got like a little zigzaggy slip stitch color work pattern. So a mosaic knitting. That's the word I was actually looking for, was mosaic knitting, but it wouldn't come to me. So there is that. I am working on it, but I'm not very far in it yet. So I've got 1.5 of the repeats finished. There are many more to go, but you can kind of see my zigzag pattern sort of emerging here. You can definitely see it better on camera than you can see it in person. So the 2 yarns that I chose for this first half are these 2 right here. So this is Lolo Did It in the colorway Angry Rhino, so of course I had to use it. I really like this gray though. And this is Malabrigo. Oh, there's my chewed tag. So this is a Malabrigo tag that my dog chewed on. This has no dye lot, because I don't think any of Malabrigo's yarn have dye lots. Anyway, so this is Malabrigo Sock in the Indicita colorway. Oh, excuse me. So in the Indicita colorway. So that is my secondary color, and my secondary color will change because I don't have enough yarn to complete the whole wrap. So I've got a purple yarn that I'm going to pair with the second half. And I have 2 skeins of Angry Rhino, so I should have enough to do 2 different sets of the repeat here. So this is the Everyday Sock Angry Rhino that is merino nylon. And the sock, I believe, is the same. Malabrigo sock is the same, except that I can't tell that for sure because my dog ate that part of the tag. So there's that. So that's my Nakara Wrap. It's living in my Mrs. Brown's bags. This is my favorite shawl bag that I've ever purchased. First of all, I love the colors, but second of all, it's really sturdy and it comes with me everywhere. And it is really good for a 2-skein shawl. So, I can't remember what size this is or what color it is, but I really, really love it. I'm a big fan of purple, if you couldn't tell. So, there is that. The next 3 that I'm going to show you are very special projects that I'm working on right now that one of them I've been working on for a really long time, and then the second one I will explain why it's special when I get there. So this one is called Beneath the Black Lake. This is the lace chart for it, and I'm only showing you that because I wrote it. So this is a pattern that I've been working on for a really long time, and I set it aside for quite a while, and I think I have shared it on the podcast before, but I've never shared it this finished before. So I think the last time I shared it, I was a little bit into the lace, but I've now, so it's a 2-color wrap sort of shawl. It has got this seaweed, it's supposed to emulate seaweed, lace panel here, and then it's going to go back into these stripes and then back into this sort of triangle sort of shape, and there's optional fringe. So that is what I've been working on the last 2 days, is doing this lace repeat. So I still have 3.5 or so repeats left, more than 3.5, but 3 and a bit of repeats left for the lace portion. So it'll be pretty long at that point, and then I will do more striping and then more of this first color. So this first color is Little Bean Loves in the Slytherin Common Room colorway, which is why it's called Beneath the Black Lake. That's why the wrap is called that. And so this is supposed to be like the murky kind of water, and then this lace panel is the seaweed that comes up out of it. So it is a Harry Potter inspired design. But I don't know that it is necessarily going to be like super Harry Potter-y feeling once it's finished, but that's where I got the inspiration for it. So that's what I'm going to call it. But yeah, so I'm using Little Bean Loves, which is an indie dyer. They're on Etsy, Little Bean Loves, and that's the Slytherin Common Room colorway. The other color is just a Knit Pick Stroll in black. Yeah, and that is living in one of my bags that I don't have the tag for anymore, so I'm not really sure who it's by, but it's a really cute little coffee bag. A little coffee or tea and cookies bag. So there's that. I've been working on this for a really long time, and it just finally came back out of its bag, and I've started working on it again, so hopefully I can finish it. I'm also test knitting it as I knit it because it's been so long since I wrote the pattern that I'm looking at it with fresh eyes. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that up here pretty soon. No promises though. The next project, and actually the next 2 projects are done in the same yarn. So I will show you that first. So that is the Jagger Spun, which is one of they're based in Maine. Here we go. It is in their Heather line in Midnight. Now, one of the things that I've done since I podcasted last is get engaged. So I'm beginning to knit wedding knitting. So I'm knitting myself a shawl in this color because this is one of my wedding colors. So our wedding colors are this like a really dark like navy blue and medium dark charcoal gray. So this is the yarn. So it's this gorgeous deep blue heather. It's got like sort of purples and reds and yellows kind of mixed in there with it, with the dark blue. And that's fairly close to true to color. It's a little bit lighter on camera than it shows up in person. I know blues are really hard to share on camera, so so not that long ago, Joji Locatelli released the Storm shawl, and the moment that I saw it, I knew it had to be my wedding shawl. So I will show you. So there is this Storm shawl. That's what it looks like when it's finished. This one, I believe, is done on a 4.5 millimeter needle. So it's fairly open weave, which is what I wanted. I also wanted something that was fairly simple with just maybe a few interest pieces, and also something that would be easy for me to pick up and put down. So I have finished the first 2 sections. I'm working on the first wedge section, which is a short row section. And then, so this is one of her one skein shawl patterns. Anyway, I guess I will just show it. So this is what I have so far. So this is the first drop stitch panel, and then this is the first garter stitch sort of setup rows kind of thing. I'm really liking it so far. I just have to do the wedge next. I was really annoyed by the drop stitch one because you wrap the yarn around the needles a million times and then it's really hard to go back the other way. So I was very frustrated by that, but there aren't very many of those in the shawl. So hopefully I'll be able to make it through them without trying to murder things, because I hated doing it the first time. I am knitting these on some very special needles. I did receive a set of the Luca Driftwood Indigo, and I really love knitting with these needles. They're great. So I have a set of them, and I've been trying to use them for every single pattern that I've been knitting lately, so that I can sort of enjoy knitting them with them. Even though I really do love my Chow-Goos, I really do love a bamboo needle. So, well, I think these ones are the Driftwood. I think they're Driftwood, but same difference. I really enjoy them. So that is that one. So now I told you the next pattern is going to be in the same, or the next work in progress is going to be the same yarn. So let's haul that out. So that means it is also wedding knitting. Now this one I'm making up on my own. So I knit a gauge swatch, and did a bunch of math, and I'm working on it. So this is my fiance's tie. So here is the tie. So it is a seed stitch main piece, and then these side pieces are going to fold over like a real tie would. You can see a couple of my stitch markers. That's Corner of Craft. Actually, both of them are. This one is one of the Stitch Marker Club exclusives, and then this is a pastel rainbow sheep, which is like my favorite. I'm pretty sure this is my absolute favorite stitch marker that I own. So anyway, little detour. Yeah, so the sides will fold over to make the actual tie. I'm working on the first set of decreases, and then I will be off on a roll to make next part of the tie. I am going to line it because, as you can see, it is fairly open as far as like the weave of the tie is, so the gauge is fairly loose. So I will attempt to line it with some satin or with some silk or some interfacing or something to minimize stretching for when he wears it on our wedding day. So there's that. So we've been frantically trying to plan a wedding before I go back to school. And by we, I mean I've been trying to plan decorations before I go back to school so that I can just make them and get them out of the way. We have a bunch of family and friends coming from out of town in Maine in December. So we're trying to work around the weather and around all the things that could go wrong at a wedding in Maine in December. Mostly the weather. So it is usually like a hit or miss whether or not the climate will be nice to you. So I'm hoping that this year it will choose to be nice and not mean. But yeah, so you can never tell. So hopefully we will get some good luck here with that. So the other thing too is that I attempted to knit a little heart into, oh, you can see it on camera. Oh my gosh, goodness. So it's all seed stitch except for this little corner down here is a little heart in stockinette stitch, and you actually can see it, and I'm so excited. In person, up close, it's really hard to see. I think after blocking, it'll be a little bit easier to see, but I mean, obviously it's seed stitch and stockinette stitch, so it may not show up except in like one of the really close-up pictures that I might make our photographer take because I worked real hard on it. So I have this vision of one of the pictures that I want taken at our wedding of my shawl and his tie together, like how some weddings have like the shoes and the whatever. I just want our shawl and tie. I don't really want our shoes. I don't really need that. Anyway, I have a dress already. I just need to go get it altered. I'm going to see the venue on Thursday, so that's kind of exciting. But yeah. There is that. So, there we go. And that is also living in another Hanna Lisa Heifer Kit bag. One of my sock size bags that I really like. But that is my last work in progress, believe it or not. We got to the end somehow. There was so much of it, I didn't think it was ever going to end. So, anyway, I'm really excited to work on all of the things that I have on the needles, but I also have future projects that I have planned for. So I want to go over a couple of stash enhancements that I've gotten in the last few months that I'm hoping to throw into some projects here really soon, which means I need to get to a lot of knitting. So there's quite a lot of things that have enhanced my stash. So I'm going to try and go through this in some sort of logical order, or at least in an order that I can pull things off the top rather than the underside of this little mountain of things that I have. So first, I have a skein of Hedgehog Fibers. I absolutely love their logo, or their yarn ball bands. They're awesome. So I've got Hedgehog Fibers. This is Petrol. It is in the merino wool line of yarn that they have. It is superwash for sure. So my best friend went on honeymoon in May and brought this back for me from Ireland. So, but yeah, so this is Petrol. It is like it's a little lighter than it's showing up on screen. But I'm gonna make a hat for myself. And with the leftovers, I may make a pair of hand warmers, but I need to do them 2 at a time because there's an entire episode of my podcast, which you can go down there and subscribe to and like and all of that if you want to. A whole episode of my podcast called The Hand Warmer of Shame. So if you want to go back and see why I need to knit my hand warmers 2 at a time, then you can see that in that episode. I think I have about 10 single hand warmers. So there is that. So this may be a hat and hand warmers if I can manage to get both out of the one skein, which I probably can. Most hats only take like a third of a skein when I make them. So there's that. So that's Hedgehog Fibers. That is was a gift. Next, I will talk about these two, which were a gift for my birthday from my grandmother. They are these like cocoa and pumpkin kind of skeins of yarn that I'm obsessed with these colors right now, and my grandmother knows me very, very well. So this is a company called One Sheep, Two Sheep. It is in the colorway Mocha Latte. It is superwash worsted wool merino, and I am struggling to find something that I want to knit out of these two, because it is 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn, which means I could make a fairly large shawl out of this if I wanted. I did also come up with an idea for a pattern that is this is what I sketched out. So this would work really well for like the sides of the shawl. I want something plain for the center of it here, because I'd rather have something plain so you can see the motif that I want to put in the middle. But anyway, so that's that. So I might use this for the sides. This would be like leaf lace. So I don't really know how well that would work out, just because of the amount of like patterning that's on it. So I might need to find some sort of more regular colored yarn. But if this does not end up in that shawl, it will probably end up as a different shawl, a more just plain garter stitch shawl for myself, because I absolutely love these colors. So there's those. That was also a gift. The next ones, when my fiance was here in March, he lives in New Zealand right now, so he is, we're currently doing visa paperwork to get him over here. So when he visited me in March to propose, and we went to a couple of yarn stores and he bought me some presents. So these are 2 of the skeins that he bought. So this one is Malabrigo Rios in Wales Road. This one is a really lovely like dark blue with some sort of teals thrown in there. It's really hard to see the variegation there on those yarns, but on those fibers, but it is really pretty. And then this one is a Malabrigo Arroyo, I believe. Yep, Arroyo in the chameleon colorway. And this has the same sort of deep dark tones as this one, so I might try and use them together in something. So this one I believe is a DK weight and this one is a worsted weight, but I think they would look really cool in like a brioche scarf together or something like that. So maybe that's what these ones will become. If not, I'd still want to put them in something together. So I really, really love these yarns. So that's those 2. The next one is another Malabrigo, but this one is not for myself. So I bought this skein of yarn as a present for my friend Carrie, who lives in Florida, who I've already mentioned once in this podcast. So I bought this for Carrie for her birthday, which was also in March. And I wanted to knit her a shawl. She is also a knitter, but she is also a slower knitter than I am, and I want her to have a really pretty shawl to wear. And not that she needs them very often, but she is fairly cold, like a cold person, so she really likes to wear big shawls. So I bought a skein of Malabrigo sock in the Cereza colorway. Cereza, Cereaza. It's this like really, really deep red, and like immediately when I saw it, I thought of Carrie. She loves these colors, these like deep red colors. So I bought this, and then when we were in Florida, I gave it to her, and I told her that she could have the skein, or I could knit her a shawl with it. And that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna knit her a shawl with this. But I'm going to pair it with these really dark charcoal gray skeins. So that is, yeah, that is that. These yarns are the fiber company Canopy, Fruits of the Forest is what it says. And this is in the colorway Obsidian. It is a baby alpaca merino bamboo. It is one of the softest things I've ever touched. It is so soft. I'm so excited to knit with this. So these 3 are going to become a Pure Joy shawl by Joji Locatelli, and I would really like to finish this by December when Carrie comes to be in our wedding. So that is hopefully gonna happen. And I already have the pattern. I just need to wind the yarn up, cast it on, but I really need to finish the rest of my works in progress first. I really, really want to get things off the needles before I put another shawl on the needles. So hopefully I'll be able to finish the things I have on the needles quickly so that I can do that. All right, we are nearing the end. I only have a couple of things left to share. So again, while I was in Florida, we stopped at that yarn store. I picked up some little mini skeins from the Fiber Seed. This one is called Mermaid. And this one is called Gabera Daisy. So Gabera Daisy, Mermaid. I'm gonna put these in my sock blanket, which I haven't abandoned, I just haven't worked on it lately. My crochet granny stripe. I've showed it before on the podcast. If I make any significant progress with it, I will share it again. It doesn't seem to be one of those projects that I really need to share every time because it doesn't look any different. So, but I will, once I make more progress on it and I start adding more from Florida, more fiber from Florida that I bought, hopefully I'll be able to give that a share on the podcast. So, let's see. Next. This yarn is really, really interesting, and I can't remember when I bought it or why, but I really want to use it, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. Sorry about the lighting change. It's sort of, it's now almost 5 p.m., so it is a lot later. The sun is coming in at a different angle than when I started at like 3:30 or whatever. So, so this is Shibui knits, or Shibui knits in my, I don't really know how to pronounce that, sorry. So this one is Field. It's like this sort of mossy green, like olivey green, and then this one is Poppy, which is like a mustard yellow. I really want to put these in something together, so maybe like a colorwork hat or something. This is a alpaca merino blend, and it is a chain ply. So I don't know if you can tell, but it is chain plied. And it's just really interesting. I think I picked it up specifically because it was just weird. Not weird, weird is not the right word, but it was different. That was what I wanted. I wanted something different, and these were what I got. But yeah, so I'm really excited to put these in something together, but I'm not really sure what. They would actually make kind of a nice little like scarflet or capelet or something, like a little shawlette is the word I was looking for. So those are that, and I only have 2 left, guys. There's only 2, sets of yarn left. So, I hopped on the Mohair train last year. I knit a hat for a friend of mine, that had mohair in it, and now I've hopped on the Mohair train, but only for hats. I don't know that I will knit any mohair garments anytime soon because I just don't have the money for it, basically. So I did buy some Rowan Kid Silk Haze in this like really light blue color. And I'm gonna pair it with this yarn that I got. It is Plymouth Yarn Company Galway in the slate colorway. So it's got like some pops of blue. You can actually see it right there on screen. That are gonna go really, really well with this light blue mohair. So I'm gonna make myself a hat out of that. And the last thing is also mohair, which is why I saved it to talk about it at the same time. This one is the Shibui Silk Cloud in the Poppy colorway. It is this very, very bright sort of neon-y pink orange combination. And I'm gonna pair it with this light gray. This is Ella Ray Merino Lace Merino DK Superwash Merino Wool. Yeah, So it's just this light gray, and I think it's gonna look really good with this bright pop of pink mohair all the way through it. So I'll make 2 hats, hopefully at some point. I'll get around to making some hats. I also have to make a hat for my grandmother with some yarn that she bought. And then I have many socks to knit. So I have quite a lot of knitting to get to. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and coming back, even though I've been gone for so long. I have been posting on Instagram, just not as often, so hopefully I can get this going again. Every 2 weeks was what I was doing before, so I may start with once a month just in case I can't really do the every 2 weeks thing. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you did like, if you want to leave me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, you can, and I will see you guys next time when I record. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.